Hello, everybody. So nice to see you. Thanks for showing up, and thanks for your lovely comments on the YouTube page. It means a lot to me. I saw a video by a Christian mystic called Thomas Keating, and he asked a poignant question that got my attention. He asked, "Can you consent to be loved? Can you consent to let God love you?" His idea was that God is love and only love. And when we let love in, all the love we've ever been seeking is available to us right now, right here. And a lot of us have resistance to receiving that love, don't we? We have judgments about ourselves, judgments about others, judgments about life. And things that come to us don't get in sometimes. When I was about 15 years old, I attended a summer camp. And I had a crush on a girl named Roberta. And they kept the girls on one side of the lake and the boys on the other, probably smartly so. And one night they took the boys and the girls to go to a roller rink. And I skated one song with Roberta. And I remember holding her hand, going around the rink, and I was in heaven. This was the greatest night of my life. But because I didn't feel good about myself at that age, I thought I was big and gawky and unattractive. I didn't pursue that relationship. I just kind of kept my distance from her, and summer camp ended and we went our separate ways. Well, 3 years later, I happened to see Roberta at a party, and she showed me she was wearing an engagement ring. And I said, "Well, I have a confession to make. You know, when we were at camp those years ago, I had a huge crush on you, but I didn't say anything because I didn't think you would want me." And she said, "Well, I have a confession to make too." She said, "I had a huge crush on you, but I don't think you would want me." Then she held up the ring. She said, "Who knows?" She said, "If either of us had been more honest about our feelings, this could have been your ring on my finger." Well, she wasn't being sarcastic, and there was nothing else for us to do. That our relationship had, whatever it was, had taken its course. But it was a huge life lesson to me that sometimes there are gifts that are offered us that we don't receive, not because we don't deserve them, but because we don't think we deserve them, or we're not willing to let them in. The Persian poet Kabir said, "I laugh when I hear that the fish in the water is thirsty," meaning that we're all swimming in an ocean of love. And we say, where can I find love? In that person, in that house, in that job, in that money, in that real estate? And where can I find grace? Who will forgive me? Who will accept me unconditionally? And what Kabir was saying, that all of these gifts are offered from every angle at every moment. That there are people out there who are trying to love you, people who do love you. But you may not realize it because you have resistances or fears or self-judgments or judgments about them. There's a television show years ago called, I forgot the name of it, but there was a tagline, and it said, there's a woman who was with her adult daughter in the kitchen, and the older one was trying to tell the daughter how to do something, and the daughter snapped back, "Mother, please, I'd rather do it myself." And there were various twists on this, and the answer was always, "Mother, please, I'd rather do it myself." And that's kind of where we are in the spiritual path in many ways. Ego, the voice of ego says, I'd rather do it myself. I have my idea about how I'm going to live my life. And, it's usually built on fear and judgment and resistance. And these opportunities come our way. No, I'd rather do it myself. A partner shows up. No, I'd rather do it my way. I'm not willing to put up with these little foibles, even though I really want you. Um, uh, Many years ago, somebody gave me a pamphlet, and it said, the title was, "Are you letting God love you? Are you letting God love you?" And I had that pamphlet on my coffee table for many years, and it was like an affirmation, like a mantra. Okay, how am I letting God love me today? Am I resisting love? Um, uh, Back to relationships. I was coaching somebody once, and she said, "I really want a partner, but I just can't seem to click with a man. I'm so ready for my soulmate." I said, "Well, tell me about your relationships with men." "Oh, men are men are such jerks." She said, "All they want is sex, and one guy was too hairy, and another guy made me pay for myself. Ugh." And I said, "Well, can you see what you're doing? You're saying, I want a relationship like this, but then you're pushing away. And your energy of pushing away is so much greater than the yes that you're getting a pushing away result." So I began to work with her, and I asked her, "What's your vision of how good it could be with a man?" And, even if a man was a human being with foibles and flaws, is it possible that the essence of your relationship would be so great that there would be a spiritual glue that would be worthwhile? "Oh, yeah, yeah." So we started building her relationship of a positive, healthy, loving relationship with a man. And within a year, she met somebody. She started to have a lovely relationship because her energy for letting it in was greater than pushing it away. She consented to be loved. Even last night, I had a chance to practice this. I was lying in bed thinking about what I might share in this program today. And I was getting lots of great ideas, stories and ideas. And I thought, oh, I don't want to get up and get my computer. See, I never remember them when I think I'm going to. Like if you're going to sleep and get an idea, sometimes it comes again, but usually it doesn't. So I said, well, if I just got up and got my computer, I'd be sure to remember it. And I didn't. I made my notes for today's lecture. And it was in that moment, Spirit was saying, "I'm giving you some guidance, dude. I'm giving you a list of things to talk about that people might appreciate and find value from. So if you don't mind, just get up and grab your computer. It'll take you 2 minutes, make some notes, and you have a good lecture." So I was open to receive guidance. Guidance is a form of love, isn't it? Somebody says something and it clicks, but you don't act on it. You have a dream, you don't act on it. Spirit speaks to us in dreams, doesn't it? Animals are wonderful teachers of receiving love, especially domestic animals like dogs and cats. Especially dogs. Cats are a little more aloof, but dogs are usually always willing to let love in. One of our dogs is the belly rub king, and he thrives on belly rubs. And he will just lay down and spread his arms and legs, and I get to rub his belly for as long as I'm willing. And if I'd rub his belly for hours, he would let me do it. And if I stop, he'll just give me this look like, "Are you serious? Are you really thinking about stopping?" So I do it some more. But he knows he deserves love. He doesn't have a big intellect that covers over his lovability. He consents to be loved. I want to go back to guidance for a moment. One of my students had a son who was like 7, 8, or 9 years old, and he was a big dinosaur fan. And he had a dream one night in which he knew that there was a little known kind of dinosaur in a particular area of Montana. And he told his mom he wanted her to take him there to find this dinosaur. She wrote this off. Big trip, just a dream. Let's get on with our day. But he kept bugging her. He said, "Mama, I know it's this." So finally, she agreed. She drove the kid to this particular site in Montana, and he began poking around. He started to find some bones. And they took these bones to a paleontologist at the local university, and the paleontologist said, "Yes, these are indeed dinosaur bones. In fact, It's a kind of dinosaur that is not known. Your son has discovered a particular dinosaur, and they named that dinosaur after that area where it was found. So this kid had received guidance. This is how God reaches the world. God doesn't just show up and poof with a big sign to say, do this. It comes through dreams and intuitions. Somebody says something and it clicks with you. You read something, it clicks with you. You hear about a teacher or seminar, it clicks with you. And this is God loving you. So are you content to receive love through guidance? God will guide us at every single turn. I often quote that phrase from A Course in Miracles. When you have learned how to decide with God, all decisions will come as easy as breathing. And you will be led as if down a quiet path in summer. So another way of receiving love is to let life be easy, to quit superimposing struggle over something that could be easy. Do you consent to ease? It's another title for this lecture. How can you consent to ease? Now let's take one more angle before we close. Sometimes things seem to be happening that appear to be outside the domain of love. So you have a challenge. You have a breakup or divorce, a health challenge, a financial setback. You say, well, if God really loved me, that never would have happened. Understandable from a human perspective. And yet, as we step back and we get the big picture, that event is not outside of love. It's actually part of life loving you. So maybe that relationship challenge or breakup or potential breakup was an invitation either for you to go deeper with your partner by letting love in more from him or her, or letting love out more from you. It could be an opportunity to make the relationship stronger by letting more love flow. Or maybe if it's truly the end of the relationship, that relationship was not right for you, and there's another relationship that's going to be better. We said last week that when there's spiritual glue, you can, worldly events cannot break apart people or events that belong together by virtue of divine order. So if your relationship is truly of divine order, then it's going to be connected even though challenges may come and go around it. And as I said, if it's truly right for you to go in different directions, there's a reason. We said last week that human rejection is God's protection. So even in the challenge or even in the breakup, there was a loving force. How many people have I heard say, I can't imagine how I stayed in that relationship for so long. It was a compromised relationship. And when we broke up, it hurt, but it was so good because my life changed and I opened to a lifestyle far better. So even in the apparent challenge, there was good. Every minus is half of a plus, waiting for a stroke of vertical awareness. So yeah, it was a negative thing on the earth plane, but on the spiritual plane, it was a blessing. Or the health challenge invited you to revisit your lifestyle and take better care of yourself, slow down, do things you love more. Don't go to a job you hate every day. Don't put up with a toxic situation in your mind or in the job. So even in the hardship, there was a blessing. Or financial setback, career challenge, you lose your job. Well, maybe the universe is pushing you out of the birth canal to something better. There's contractions, but on the other side of the contraction, there's a new life. And you say, wow, losing that job was the best thing that ever happened to me because now I developed my entrepreneurship. Or I found a company I really love to work with, and now I'm working with a company and people that match my values, that have integrity, that want to bring service and healing to the planet. Wow. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. So as Kabir said, we are swimming in the notion of love is knocking, it's like you have 12 different doors and love is knocking at all these doors, saying, would you please let me in? Would you please allow yourself to be deserving and worthy of love and healing? Healing is another form of receiving love. I'm willing to be healed because I am willing to receive love. I trust that well-being is God's intention for my life. And therefore, I consent to love at every moment, with every person, in every form. And if today were the day that we really consented to let love in, what a magnificent day it will be.